Hey, good evening, everybody. Those of you who are joining me for another Yeshua 101. Um, Long time, about a couple of weeks. Last week, I was preparing a sermon for my usual fourth Sunday or the last Sunday of the month at a church that I used to attend on the regular. So that's what I was busy doing last week. And this tonight, as you can see, podcast style, kind of doing a late start on it. And also, I was going to do a full Yeshua 101 with the music, but to be honest with you, I kind of got frustrated earlier because I had some issues with my guitar. You know, nothing big, but I'm like, you know, y'all get a break tonight, basically. So be happy, okay? But I'm hoping that tonight will honestly be the last of the testimonies. Not because I don't enjoy giving the testimony, because it does need to be said, but I'm just ready to move on to, the studies again. So it's turning out to be, again, like I said in my other two videos, that it's, turning out longer than what it's supposed to be, but I just don't want to leave nothing out. But basically, pretty much shared a lot with you, so probably tonight is going to be the last one. And I do got some video footage, to include at the end of this video as well. It's going to be my second camping spot, because actually I was homeless a total of 3 times. This is the second one. The third one, I can honestly say my fault. And but the Lord got me out of that one too. But these two, the ones that I'm already sharing with you, is those were out of my control. But anyway, continuing on, I left off, and I also included the film on that. I left off where I was homeless and I was camping out behind the Labor Ready. And I experienced what I call a spiritual / physical something happened to me. And I even kind of briefly explained it in the video that I don't know what to make of this. But anyway, on the video, it was kind of a rush thing. But here's the full story. So I told y'all that I started getting jobs out of Labor Ready. And I moved my camp from the wooded area over there by Dalworth Street over to the alleyway behind the Labor Ready. And if you watched the last video, you can see at the end of the video, the film footage, I showed the alley. Well, that was my home for about, I want to say 3 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, because I kind of moved around, but that place is where I kind of felt safe, Don't know why. Something up here in the head, it just your body goes into survival mode. And I also credit the Lord God that I didn't go insane. He kept me sane. I was just in survival mode, had to do it. I didn't know when I was going to get out of being homeless, but I knew he wasn't going to leave me there. But anyway, that was my home for about a month. And every time I got paid out of Labor Ready, I went to the dollar store. I stocked up on canned food, a lot of Chef Boyardee. To this day, I really am not crazy about Chef Boyardee. Well, they changed the recipe anyway, so I probably would have got sick of it. But it's nothing like it was back in the day. But anyway, stocked up on canned food, and I would buy blankets, because the blankets that I had weren't really blankets. They were more like cover sheets, just thin. So, even though your boy was really fat back then, I was like 325-pound fat. That fat didn't protect me too good. Still got cold. So I went to the dollar store, bought me, a nice thick blanket, soft cotton. It kept me warm. Out of the trash cans or and I'm talking about not just the regular can, but those big, um, I don't know what you call them, them big garbage places where businesses dump their garbage. I don't know, those big metal trash bins, whatever you want to call them. I honestly don't know what they're called. I don't concentrate on that. But I found some that kind of a foam wrap, and that actually helped increase keeping the heat. I would wrap myself in that foam wrap, and then I'd put the blanket on, and man, that provided a lot of protection. So I had that. I had my backpack. I would go and I would buy food from like that chicken I tell you about from Albertsons, and then I went to Kroger and bought their chicken. I actually kind of liked it a little better. Shh, don't tell nobody, but I moved around different shopping areas because I knew I was looking rough. I didn't want nobody to catch on that I was homeless, but more than likely they probably thought I, knew I was anyway. On this one particular night, and I know this happened. I know this makes me sound crazy. I don't care. It is, the truth. I got to say it. Even when I'm thinking about it now, it's like that is just strange to me. And I've had paranormal supernatural things happen to me, but honestly, it ain't like I see that stuff all my life. I mean, I'm 47 years old. I've had a couple of paranormal things happen before I became homeless. So from the age of 22 to 47, I've experienced just seven things I can't explain. So it ain't like I'm a type of person that I'm like, ooh, I see this, I hear this, I hear it. No, I'm not. These are seven things since from 22 till I'm now 47 that I can't explain. And this is by far one of the weirdest things that happened to me. And when I was laying in that alley, I was asleep. I was tired. I mean, I wake up 5 in the morning, sometimes 4:30 in the morning to catch a job at Labor Ready, which I want to tell you, God provided, because day labor places are just that, day labor. I mean, you go, you hope for a chance to get sent out on a job, and it's literally just one day. You're doing cleanup work, and you do it all over again the next day, seeing if you can get a job. Well, on the first try, and what I mean by that is because I already explained the very first time I went there, I didn't get sent out. But then I went again, and on the very first job I was assigned, it turned out to be a 2-week ticket. Tell me this is not God helping me out. A 2-week ticket. That means I was guaranteed work for 2 weeks. And it did last 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. And it was that skilled work that I told you about. I said this on the video. We're helping to build bleachers in a school in Cedar Hill. So I had steady work. I was tired. We always got back around 3:15, and I was able to get my money out for that little ATM looking thing. It was a voucher machine in the Labor Ready office. I went and cleaned up as best as I could, because really I would have to wake up again once that one business that I showed you, that Theo's. That way I can go fill my jug with water and then sponge bathe and then go back to sleep. I was tired. So I went to sleep As soon as I laid down in that alley, I ate my food, whatever. If I felt like walking to go get chicken, I would get chicken. If I didn't, I would just drink my water and eat my Chef Boyardee or my potted meat or Vienna sausage, whatever. And I would go to sleep. And so I was woken up. It was already dark, but with the lights around there, you could still kind of see, the street lights and also the lights from the porches of the houses. Somebody grabbed me. Somebody grabbed my arm hard. And like I explained in the video, I was younger back then. I sprung right up because, I thought I was getting attacked, which I was getting attacked. I thought somebody was robbing me. They're grabbing my arm, and then at the same time, with it felt like their other hand was pushing my head back down. I started, punching, punching, and then I was reaching out to grab, and I felt where somebody had grabbed my arm right here, my left arm, and it's like I could feel the sensation, when how it feels when somebody grabs you really hard. You feel it even when they let go. You feel it. I felt the four fingers. I knew, and then I felt my skin. It was like a little bit warm. Somebody grabbed me, and somebody tried to push my head back down when I was trying to get up and punch them. And then, like I explained in the video, I felt my fist hit something, like the body. And like I said, I got up really quick. I'm looking around, and as I showed you in the video, there's nowhere that whoever attacked me could go without me seeing them. There's no way, because there's that empty lot right there, right behind where I was camping out. And at the time, I showed that business that was there, the parking lot, that wasn't there. It was just another empty lot, a couple little small trees. But anyway, if whoever attacked me ran that way, I would see them. If they ran the other way, I would see them. And even in that alleyway that I showed in the video, I would see them. As fast as I got up to look, there was no way anybody could get away that fast that I couldn't see him. Yet there was nobody there. There's nobody there. But I, again, felt the sensation on my arm. Something attacked me. And I felt a little bit afraid, but not too afraid, because I would have been more afraid had I seen somebody running away. Because then I would have thought, man, I got to get up. I got to go hide. Somebody knows I'm here. They're trying to attack and rob me. But the fact that I didn't see anybody told me that was a spiritual thing. And I just didn't get, you would think, you'd get really scared at that. But no, I was like, I was thinking more like, what? I said my little prayer, Jesus, protect me. Because again, at this time, I wasn't really close to the Lord, but I knew enough to pray for him to protect me from any spiritual attacks. And I told my coworkers the next morning, and they were like, oh, okay, and then one guy acted like he was concerned, but then it turns out, I found out later, he kind of like laughing it off, kind of like semi making fun of me, I guess. But yeah, that was a weird experience. I mean, on top of being homeless, then I got spiritually attacked. But it never happened again. It happened that one time because I continued hiding there, and it never happened again. I spent a lot of days. There was an old chair there too that On Saturdays, sometimes I would go to see if there was any Saturday work, and sometimes there wasn't. And there was nothing to do. I mean, yeah, I walked around and I kept going to the Albertson store where I would eventually get hired, and I was trying to get hired on a job. I mean, I don't want to be homeless, so but I did all I could do, all that you can do on a Saturday. I mean, a lot of retail stores you would think they're ready to hire you in, but there was always that thing about the manager wasn't there, or the main manager wasn't there, or yeah, they'll take my application, but I mean, I now see it as God already knew, because God knows everything, that He was going to open the door at Albertsons to get hired there. And it turned out to be a very good job. And doors were closing. See, that's the thing that a lot of people need to recognize is God is the one that opens doors and God is the one that shuts doors. And you're thinking, well, God's shutting doors. That's kind of mean. No, it's not. No, not when He has something better for you. And this is a learning experience for me because, like everybody, I'm an impatient man, especially when you're in the lowest of the lows. And I've never been the type of person that always looked at the bright side to everything. I mean, so you're camping in an alley. You have nothing at all except the clothes on your back. I'm not. Oh, well, let me look at the bright side. No, wasn't doing that. So yeah, I had my frustrating weekends were the loneliest for me because I would remember that just literally a few. I mean, I'm only 25 years old at this time. 25, y'all. I'm a young man. Literally just a few years ago, I was like all young teenagers and young people going into their 20s. It's like I had the whole world at my disposal. I mean, I graduated high school. I did a little bit of college, but that didn't work out for me. Um, I had a job. I used to be a truck driver. I had my own apartment. I had vehicles. I dated. I had friends all around me. I'm like, I could do whatever I wanted to. I could eat wherever I wanted to. I had vacation times at my jobs. It's like I had everything. And now I'm 25 years old and I have nothing at all. Nothing, no vehicle, no job, just the clothes on my back, no place to live. It's like, oh, oh. And yes, I had my boohoo moments. That's what I would think about all the time, especially on the weekends. I would be thinking because a lot of the people that I worked with at Labor Ready, they weren't homeless. A lot of them weren't homeless. And it's like they would be talking about what they're going to do when Saturday comes or when Sunday comes, and parties and barbecues and hanging out with friends and this and that, going out of town. And here I was stuck in the same place day after day, exposed to the elements. And it's like weekends were just more lonely. And I would sit on that old stool chair like you would see like in like an office setting. It was just discarded out there in the alley. It stunk. It was moldy smelling and all that. And all I could do was just sit and lean back on the wall of that building and just watch the cars go by. Watch the people walk by. and everything, it's like a broken record in my head. They got somewhere to go. They have somewhere to go. They're going somewhere. They're not going to be out here all day long. When it comes nighttime, they're going to have a nice, comfortable, warm home to be in, watching TV, talking on the phone to their friends, or taking a shower and going out, probably going to go see a movie or going out to eat. All this was running in my head. And I'm just sitting on that chair, and hours would pass and pass, and you see the sunlight going away when the sun sets. That's when loneliness really sets in. Your day's pretty much wasted. But anyway, I ran into another homeless person, and she didn't stay very long. Kind of goofy, best I can say it. She was on something. But it was nice to have company. And she actually used to work at Albertsons, the Albertsons that I applied at. But she told me she got fired because, well, she was caught stealing. But she was explaining that Albertsons pays every week. I'm like, that got me excited because I was thinking if I could just get in there, the longest I would have to wait is 2 weeks, and I would have my first check and then a continuous check every day. I had hope. I was, looking forward to that. And she said they were a nice company to work for, and she admitted she messed up when she stole, you know. But I wound up working at that school for another week. Then they didn't need our help anymore. The bulk of the work was already done. They were actually moving on. And then the other people were going to come in and do the other work that needed to be done, like more electrical or something like that. But the people that were just in charge of building the bleachers, and that's all their business was. They build bleachers. Ran out, work ran out. I wound up getting a couple of more little jobs. One of the scariest, but because I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. I cannot. Those of y'all who know how big one of them little step ladders are, I can't even be on one of those without getting dizzy because I've fallen. I don't like heights at all. But if I can say I'm proud of myself that when it comes down to it, I will face my fears and do it. One of the jobs that I got blessed with, and this was right before I got hired because I finally got the news. I got an interview. And it's because I kept going to Albertsons every single day. I told them I don't have a phone. So I kept going. I said, believe me, I want to get in here. I will be here. What day am I coming in? And they said that the hiring manager wanted to see me on Monday at 8 o'clock. No, wait a minute. No. No, I think it was 10 o'clock. Forgive me, it's been 20 years, okay? It was 10 o'clock. She would be there at 8, but my interview was 10. Okay, there we go. So, I had something to look forward to. That weekend was not lonely anymore because now I had something to look forward to. And even though I wasn't close to the Lord and I blamed him for a lot of things, I prayed. I said, Lord, please help me get this job. Please help me get this job. So I went to work at this place where they were, it was the job description was called wire pulling. I'm like, okay. They said, are you afraid of heights? And I lied. I said, no, I'm not, because I did not want to lose this opportunity. Money, getting money, and plus they were paying a little bit more. I mean, the minimum wage, like I mentioned before, was $5.25. These people were actually paying, if I'm correct in remembering, $9 an hour. So I was like, ooh, okay, $9 an hour for wire pulling. Okay, so I said, no, I'm not afraid of heights. And they said, we asked because you'll be asked, not all the time, but sometimes they're going to ask you to climb a ladder to pull wire. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm thinking wire, little bitty wire. I was like, okay, whatever, So again, the ride was provided because your boy didn't have no vehicle. And it turned out to be what was going to be a soft drink production warehouse, distribution center, factory, whatever you want to call it. And it was actually for, what is it called? K Cola, the that exclusive cola that you get at Kroger. And the job was, a big, huge warehouse. They had already had all the assembly line production, whatever, going on there, and our job was to pull the wire. Now, there wasn't no little bitty wires here and there. These were like big, huge wires. And in fact, one of the wires was, you see my hands, this thick. And it was heavy. It was on a spool. Now, the platform was stairs. No ladders yet, but stairs. And since I was big and strong back then, of course, they had me be the dude that was grab the wire. And see how I'm doing my arms? Grab the wire and pull it off of the spool. Now, talk about workout. But, again, 25 years old, no diabetes, had both my legs, and I had ambition, and I had joy to know that, hey, I got an interview on Monday. I pulled that wire. And see, I like to work. I like it, doing hard work, and it's like when you do a good workout, you feel the whoo like that, And it's like, I'm pulling that wire and I'm running. I ain't gonna lie though, I did get tired because, mind you, I'm 325 pounds, bro. I'm like going like this. I'm pulling that wire, and they would get it, and then I would just continue feeding it like that. Did that for the first day. Then on the second day, that's when the ladders came in. And I would have to climb the ladder all the way to this other, it's like the top of like the utility room ceiling, I guess. That wasn't fun for me. That was not fun for me. Because, again, big old fat guy, regular ladder, aluminum ladder, I guess, is not fun for me. And then on the last day, they really had your boy doing something scary. Imagine one of the platforms. Let me grab a little visual here if I can. Okay. I got this envelope here, but just picture this is a worthless check anyway. I mean, y'all, this is funny. It costs more money to print these worthless checks than it is for anything. I don't know if y'all could see the number on this. It's literally a check for $2.94, bro. $2.94. I mean, it's so worthless. I didn't even bother to deposit it. I probably still can deposit it. I'm not sure. I think they give you 180 days. Yeah, I got this on the November 18th. I probably might as well. I mean, I've been homeless, been penniless, only 15 cents in my pocket, I should not complain over $2.94. Anyway, but I want to just, nah, I better not do that. Let me just, okay, picture this as like the platform thing where the wires were going to be running through, and then it's going to be an assembly line, where the sodas would come through. Big old 325-pound fat boy, they wanted me to, you see my fingers? Those are my legs. And I had to like kind of crawl, and of course I'm doing like this crawly thing like this with my hands, but my legs are like this, and I'm like going across this thing, and it's way up high. Legs are dangling. I can see the floor way at the bottom. I'm very worried and concerned that my weight would bend the thing and eventually I go falling off, but they assured me it wouldn't. And once I got to where I was going to be, and there was two other guys behind me, they were now feeding that wire kind of like this. And then I'm looking, I got my butt up, raised because the wire had to go between my legs. And I would grab it and I would feed it like this. And, and since I'm on the very edge, then I'm feeding the wire and it's going all the way to the bottom where they would grab it and then they would lift it up and then feed it to the other platform on the other side. Don't ask me why, because I don't understand why. I'm a homeless day labor guy. I ain't asking questions. But that was not fun. I think I was up there for about an hour, maybe a little longer. It seemed like forever. Not fun. But got the money, got very good money. It went from like $32 a day to those 2 days I was making like about 50 something dollars. And that was a lot of money for me, And then came Monday. And I was excited all weekend. I was like, couldn't sleep. Excited all weekend. I got up as best as I could, and by the I was trying to not look so rough. I bought me a brush, and like I said, I had hair back then, and I brushed it as best as I could, but it was still very shaggy looking. And I went over there to Albertsons and met the hiring manager. And she asked me all these questions. Had I worked in retail before? And I said, well, my last job was Walmart. I said, I've been working at a Labor Ready while waiting to get in here, but my last retail job was actually at Walmart. I worked in the bakery. Familiar with customer service. And but whatever I don't know, I learned. And then I told her I worked for Pizza Hut when I was a teenager. And mentioned, I was a truck driver for about 3 years. And, she liked the fact that everywhere I was, I had a good record of staying. Of course, Walmart was only about a little under 2 years, but I told her my car broke down. I was already living in Grand Prairie. And I actually fibbed where I told her I was still living in that apartment, which I wasn't. I wasn't going to tell her I was homeless. But she's looking at me and she goes, well, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. And that's when she asked for my IDs and, my Social Security and my driver's license. And I told her I got my social security and I got a debit card with my picture. I don't have my driver's license because I lost it. I don't know where it's at and I need to get another one. And that's when she told me there was actually a DPS right across the railroad tracks. And I was like, okay. I said, but I don't have money right now. And I don't know if she knew that I was homeless or not. I mean, I didn't stink, but my clothes weren't ironed, and she actually did. She actually touched my head, and she goes, "Yeah, we're gonna have to get you a little. You kind of like rough right here." She actually used rough. She goes, "You need to get a haircut." When she said that, I got hope because I thought she was actually going to turn me away for not having an ID. She goes, "You're going to need to get a haircut. We're going to bring you in." I'm like, oh man, such a good feeling. And here's where I know the Lord helped me get in here is because companies generally do not hire you. Jobs will not hire you if you don't have an ID. Now, I showed her my worthless debit card that had my photo on it, and I showed her my social security, and she goes, "Well, really not supposed to bring you in, but if you can promise me when you get your first check, you promise me you'll go get your ID, I'll give you a shot." Tell me that's not an open door, though, that God allowed that to happen. And I went with the little money that I had. I went and I did get my hair cut. I found a laundromat where I went and washed my clothes. And I was ready. I was ready. And I got hired in to Albertsons. When they first hired me in, I was a cashier. I didn't like it because it was only 4 hours a day, evenings. I didn't like it. I did not like it. This was before I developed customer service skills, really. Because in the bakery, I barely dealt with any customers. But I just did not like that. And I asked if I could maybe move to, I asked if I could move to the bakery. And they said they weren't hiring nobody in the bakery, but she recognized because of my age, I'm 25 years old, I'm not some little kid, that I needed more hours. So she goes, "Well, how would you like to work in the meat department?" I said, "I'd love to." She goes, "That'll give you more hours. That'll actually be full time. They are needing somebody back there. And yeah, that should give you at least 35, maybe 40 hours." So I'm like, "Yes, I'll do it." So I was a cashier for 2 weeks. The door opened up. I worked in the meat department. Now, as a reminder, before, when my car barely broke down and I would walk from my apartment down Delaware Street to the Albertsons, I remember shopping there one day and I was looking at the meat department and I was seeing the person there cleaning up, and that lonely feeling came back because no job. I didn't have a job. I knew I was fixing to lose my apartment. I was looking at this person. I was just looking at him. I was like, man, that dude's blessed. I mean, he's got somewhere to go. He's got a job and he's fixing to go home. Now I was the dude that was working there. And you know what? I guess I replaced him because I never saw that guy again. I never saw that guy again. So maybe he's the person I replaced. But that turned out to be a really good job because less than a year later, your boy got promoted to Butcher Block supervisor. I was a supervisor, Butcher Block supervisor. I actually ran that department now. The meat department at Albertsons is divided into three sections. It's the meat deli, which is the prepackaged, bologna, cheese, hot dogs, bacon, sausage, all that. That's called the meat deli. Not the service deli, but meat deli. And then there's the butcher block, which is the full service meat and seafood counter. That's what I ran. And then there's the actual meat market where, all the steaks and everything that's cut up and packaged. So I ran a third of the meat department. And then God's favor, and then I'm ashamed because part of my testimony is to say that I did not give God the credit he deserves. I thought it was all me. Dumb. It wasn't all me. It's God's favor. God gave me favor to where, because look, I clock in, I do my job, I boss people that I, are under me, but I wasn't like a gun butt. No, I just gave them instruction because I was the boss of the butcher block. But I didn't think I was doing anything special, but God was opening doors for recognition for me. I got to meet the guy that was just under the president in charge of the meat department of our market. And our market was 17 stores big at that time. He was the second in charge right under the division president. Got to meet him. He said, "Man, I heard about you, man. I'm so honored to meet you." I mean, this dude's saying that he's honored to meet me, shaking my hand. And, I didn't give God the credit for that favor because God bestows favor on his people. Even if you're acting stupid and nutty like I did, he gives you favor with people that you get recognized. And, of course, getting recognized leads to, raises and leads to, people bragging about you. I'm talking about people in the important market people. They're spreading the word. I found out, unbeknownst to me, actually, until after the fact, they would use my butcher block, my display for Albertsons commercials. And it's like, huh? I mean, they would come up to me and say, "Hey, man, did you see our commercial?" I said, yeah, yes, I saw that commercial, which I did. He goes, "Did you recognize it?" I'm like, "Albertsons?" He goes, "No, your counter, man. We used your counter." And they would use my display around the market. Like, this is the way we want it to look. And I wasn't doing anything special. I just was doing my job. I would decorate it with kale and the purple kale and green kale because they wanted us to decorate it, make it look nice. I wasn't doing anything special, but yet they loved it and used it as examples. Every store director that came through there, they had a reputation for being tough as nails, and a lot of people didn't get along with them. I did. I got along with them to the point we were joking around. And did I give God the credit? No. I took it all for myself, and I said, "Well, I'm this and I'm that." And it's like, I'm ashamed of that. God blessed me for almost 4 years. Almost 4 years. I was riding high on the hog. Now, I had a lot of warrants for my arrest because of not taking care of my tickets, expired, not having, insurance, not paying my traffic tickets. I had a buttload of tickets. So I tell the young people, pay off your tickets. Don't do like me. Pay off your tickets. One thing led to another to where in my mind, I ain't driving. I ain't got to drive, don't have to drive, ain't going to drive. So in the 4 years that I was living high on the hog, and at one point in time I was working so many hours, I had $1,000 in my pocket because I didn't do the debit card thing back then. I was strictly cash. I cashed my checks for free at Albertsons, That was one of the perks of being an employee there. And I had cash in my pocket. Now, if anybody robbed me and God protected me from getting robbed, they would have had a field day because there was at one point in time I had no less than $1,000 cash in my pocket. I acted stupid. I indulged in a lot of things. Went places I shouldn't have and indulged with people that shouldn't have. I was living good. I had big reputation at the store where I worked at. People knew who I was. People liked what I did, had favor with the store directors. I became very arrogant. All the good blessings God was giving me, I didn't thank Him for. I didn't give Him credit. And here's where getting my second homeless came in. One day I woke up. Well, I went to work. And my arm or my hand right here at this point, was tender. It was like I felt it when I woke up that day, and I would work the evening shift. Even though I was the boss, I worked the evening shift, the 1 to 10 shift, because I brought in sales. Now, I'm not saying this like to brag again, where I say I brought in sales. This is them telling me, because I was the only butcher block in the entire market, that I worked the evenings. The only 2 days that I worked in the mornings was when I clean and reset the display case, because every week it would change. And then the rest of the days, I was evening. I remember I had Thursday, Friday off. I come in Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I was evenings. Enjoyed it. I got to sleep late. Went in there with and it's because they said, well, Audie brings in the sales, which I did. People trusted me. Customers knew my ugly face for the longest time. They liked that's where I developed skills. This is where the Lord God helped me develop skills, because I was a shy man. Very shy. Unless I knew you, I didn't express myself. I was shy, especially with the customers. But because I was there for so long and I got to interacting with them, what's that old saying that they say? You could sell a ketchup popsicle to a nurse wearing an all-white uniform. I could do that. It was easy for me. But it was because God was developing my skills. Remember, God always trains you. God trains you for what you're supposed to be. Now, He always created me to be, kind of like influencing people, educating people, and you can't do that unless you talk and are got personality. I didn't have personality unless I was in a small group of friends. I was like, for real. That job at Albertsons brought me out. It was like it brought me out of my pupa. I was a caterpillar, a big old fat caterpillar, and now I'm a big old fat, let's just say moth, because butterflies are slender, moths tend to be more fat. I'm fat. So, big old moth I developed. So again, digress, I worked evenings. I went in this day, again, right here. My hand was kind of tender. I popped the Advil. I worked all day, and there was so much to do. I mean, I downstacked pallets, stocked the freezer, stocked the display case with meats and fish and cleaning and all kinds of stuff. Work, for real. Building displays, work. Constantly moving, constantly using the hands. Even cutting some meats. I learned how to cut meats. I went home that night, did my usual Saturday thing. I woke up the next morning on Sunday. and my hand hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. I was crying. I'm not ashamed to say this. I was crying. At this time, I'm a 29-year-old man. I'm crying. My hand was purple and bloated, and it hurt. Like whenever I would put my arm down, it felt like it was separating from my joint. Whether that really, how that really feels, I don't know. But in my head, it felt like my hand was coming off. It hurt so bad. I couldn't tie my shoe. It was hard to get dressed. I went and I showed my boss my hand. And I said, I can't work like this. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know if I got bit. I don't know what's wrong. And he looked at it and said, man, that thing looks ugly. They knew I wasn't faking. And plus, I wasn't the type of person that called in. I was a dependable guy. Now, me and the boss didn't always get along. In fact, we argued with each other a lot of times. I mean, I jumped down his throat because I could only do this for so long. So it ain't like we were like buddy buddies, like, oh yeah, go do it. No, we had our differences, but even he couldn't deny it when I showed him my hand that I wasn't faking. Well, I went to the hospital. They said I had tendonitis. I couldn't work. I couldn't work. They were going to put me on light duty, and then they asked me what I did, and they said, no, you can't work. They gave me a splint. They gave me some medication, and they say, you're going to have to rest. You're going to have to tell your job you can't work. And then you come back to us, we'll reevaluate you, and then we can see if we can put you on light duty. But with the sound of what you're doing, you can't work. There's no way you can do it. It won't heal if you do that. Well, long story short, management changed because the store director that was there at that time, me and him got along really good, to where we would joke with each other, and he was a fun guy. Well, he got moved to another store further down the street. This was Carrier Street. I was in North Carrier. Dude got moved to the South Carrier store. That's going to come into play later. Again, God, when it seems like everything is falling apart, God is actually behind the scenes putting everything together. So, my testimony is going to show you this. I wound up losing my job because as my hand was healing and I could move it again, it still was tender, but, I was taking pain meds. The swelling it went down. The normal color came back. I went to speak with the new store director, and he didn't know who I was, which maybe that was true. I don't know. I knew everybody in the market where we were at. They knew who I was. So he must have come from a different market, or he just was lying to me, or he just flat out didn't care. But he actually said, well, who are you? And I said, I'm Audie Ortega. I'm the butcher block supervisor. He goes, well, I've never seen you here this whole time. I said, I'm out on medical leave. I had tendonitis in this wrist, and explained to him, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I worked there for 4 years. He said, well, I don't know. I don't really know who you are. And, the person that's back there right now, which is the person I trained, he's doing a good job, and we don't really need you, and I'm not sure if you're not going to hurt yourself again. So I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm like, so am I fired? He goes, well, I can't use you. Again, on my whole world crashing down. And again, I got mad at God. And again, I said, why did you allow this to happen? And it's like, high on the hog for 4 years. Everybody knew who I was. Everybody loved me. There was some few jealous people there, but majority, everybody loved me. I had everything going for me. getting hurt, wiped out all that money. Remember, I told you I would have no less than $1,000 in my pocket. I went from working overtime every week to now having nothing, just like that. I mean, this dude could care less who I was, and yeah, I only had enough money to stay in that motel for about 3 more weeks. Money ran out, and I remember this is probably why I don't like foggy, cold, rainy weather. I used to, but now the day that I had to leave where I was staying at that hotel, it was rainy, well, misty and foggy and kind of cold. And there I am all over again. All over again, homeless. And I went right back to that alley where I camped out at 4 years ago. And I'm like thinking in my head, not again. I was like, boy, these things just run in your head. I'm like, who? Mm. But again, God's working everything out. And God was with me. God is actually with you on everything that you go through. It's not just a beautiful thing for him to say, he is actually with you on everything that you go through. Okay? I'm going to elaborate more on this, but the Bible actually speaks of this account of these 3 young men named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those were the 3 men. They were thrown into a big furnace. You know, that furnace was intended to kill people. And that furnace was very hot. I'm talking hot that even if you got too close to it in the entrance, it could kill you hot. They were thrown in there by a king, a bad king, because they would not turn away from their faith on worshiping the true God of Israel, the God that I love. And when they looked in there, or when the king looked in there, he actually said, did we not throw 3 people in there? And they said, yes. Soldier said, yes. He goes, well, I see 4 people in there. And one looks like the Son of Man. Proof God is literally with you on everything you go through. So sometimes I feel bad because of the mistakes I've made. I took God with me in the alleyways. I took God with me in being homeless. God was with me the entire time that I was homeless. And I'm going to tell you what he did for me. I ended up at Arlington Memorial Hospital for a little while. It's probably under Texas Health now, but when I went there, it was called Arlington Memorial over there off of Collins. That's how I ended up over there in Collins. And I went there because that's where I went for my wrist. And I was just going to, because I did not want to be in the alleyways again. I did not want, and it was cold, like I said, at night, and it was rainy. I took the last little bit of money I had, which was about maybe a little over $100. I got me a cab because I don't remember anything about Ubers back then. I mean, this was 2009. So I don't know if Uber was up and running then. All I know is I didn't know anything about no Ubers back then. But I took a cab and I asked to be dropped off over there. And I was just going to stay in the hospital, like in the emergency room area. And I went exploring around the hospital and I found a family room, which was comforting because it looked like a big giant living room, where people would wait for their loved ones. It wasn't one of them little small ones. It was a great big, waiting room. They had a huge entertainment center with a TV and a couch, recliners. They had recliners in there. And I would stay there and I would pretend, if anybody would come and ask, I would pretend I was waiting on a friend who was in an emergency. And I gave them a name of somebody that I knew, somebody that I met at Labor Ready. They never questioned me. They let me stay there. They left me alone. Well, anyway, guys, my apologies that this is going so long. I was really actually hoping to end the testimony here, but I guess it's going to be another video. But I just don't want to leave anything out because I want y'all to know what God did for me. And I'm sorry I sound like a broken record saying that, but that's the only reason I'm doing this whole testimony in the first place. To show anybody that's watching this video, I am not just somebody that's going to be preaching and I don't know what anybody's going through and I don't know how, I want y'all to know what I've been through in my life so you can know that, hey, this dude's gone through some stuff. He's going through some stuff that I'm going through right now. Or if my thing is not compared to yours, or if my thing's not, or it's worse than yours, whatever the case may be, I'm showing y'all, I'm being candid, showing y'all that, man, I've been through some junk. And that's why I'm going into so much detail on this testimony. But, I hope that these testimonies are a blessing to you where it kind of opens your eyes. And I'm going to be including scriptures in here too, because this channel is Yeshua 101. It's not Cyrus 101. It's Yeshua 101. I want y'all to know that the Lord Jesus Christ was with me through all of this time, even though I was acting a fool. Like I said, he blessed me with a good job at Albertsons, that open door. I lived high on the hog for 4 years. And all I did was become arrogant. I didn't give the Lord credit. I'm not saying he took the job away from me. Even if I would have gave him credit and if I would have done the right thing, I still believe circumstances would have happened to where I would have lost the job. Because again, I now see everything that I went through as training. Okay? Another story I want to elaborate further, along with the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, is also Joseph in the Bible. That's a major. If any of our lives can be compared to any hero in the Bible, it would be Joseph, because the boy went through and but it was all training. That's how I view my life and all my experiences. God was training me to become the person that I need to be. And now I'm not some big old famous guy. I'm not no movie star. I got a face made for radio, not video. And it's like, but I'm still the man that I'm supposed to be. I speak a certain way. I think a certain way. I love a certain way. I empathize a certain way. And I now preach the gospel. And it's all truthful. And like I always say, I'm not perfect. I mean, I tell you at the beginning of this video, I got frustrated and angry because, a little issue with my guitar, which can be fixed. It can be fixed. No big deal. But no, your boy has to get all like... so I'm not perfect. I'm showing y'all I'm an actual everyday schmo that is just telling you what Jesus Christ did for my life. Okay? Because like I always say, and I'm going to end it here. I would see ministers off and on growing up speaking their elaborate way. And some of these people I knew in real life, and I'm like thinking in my head, you don't act like that every day in everyday life. Why are you talking like that just because you're up on the stage behind the pulpit? Why are you all like? And then, you know, a lot of times I would think, what do you know? What do you know about suffering? You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what it feels like to be like this. Well, this is my way, through my experiences, showing y'all I've been through some mess. I've been through some mess. And I can tell you right now, I'm a happy man. I know what God's done for me. I know what he continues to do for me, because he's the same yesterday and same yesterday, today, and forever. And no matter what I do, and I do a lot, I do a lot to give the Lord Jesus reason not to help me. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't cast me away. He doesn't throw me away. He doesn't treat me like garbage. He actually helps me, continues to help me. I know how he is. I know, and he surprises me, but I know he's a loving God. That it breaks his heart. Everything I went through, it broke his heart. And he rescued me. And yes, things happened, but I'm glad they happened. Honestly, I can say I'm glad they happened. They have helped to shape me into the person that I am now. And I think about all those experiences, and there's sadness, but it's bittersweet memories. And we're coming to the end of the testimony. I don't have too much more to say. This video, again, I'm going to say, because I did say it was going to have some video footage, because I've already recorded it. Yeah, it's not going to be on this video after all. It will be on the next one, because the next one is, I can tell it, that will be the last testimony video. And that will include the film footage of where I ended up second time I was homeless. And that's where I lost it. But that's where I felt God's love and protection even stronger. So that is the end of this video. Father, thank you for every time that you got me out of situations and you showed your love to me. And I didn't appreciate you. I said terrible things to you, but you were my father. You have always remained my father. And you got me out of the situations. Lord, I can't thank you enough. Just simply saying thank you is just not enough. But it is my heart. And all you seek is my heart. Lord, I pray that my testimony can penetrate the hearts of some people out there. I know not everybody's going to be able to relate, but you do. You know who you're leading to this channel, and I just pray my testimony, as heartfelt as it is, could be a blessing to somebody. As always, thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for helping me and for being my Savior and being my rescuer and continuously rescuing me out of situations. Amen. Well, I will see y'all on the next Yeshua 101. Again, thank you, and I appreciate your patience with this very long testimony. And again, very excited for the next phase of Yeshua 101 with the lessons of Jesus Christ. I can't talk tonight. Jesus Christ's life and getting to know him more through his actual earthly ministry. So God bless all of y'all. Have a great and safe weekend. Enjoy this beautiful, beautiful weather, which the experts are calling false spring. False spring, because it's going to be cold again, I think, the week after next. But hey, enjoy the false spring while it lasts. Man, it feels good outside. It feels really good. My old bones don't hurt right now. So I love all of y'all. God bless you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on the next Yeshua 101.